Look, at the end of the day, this is Josh Allen's offense, right? Like you're gonna put together the offense around the guys that you got. So for us to just say, hey, we're just gonna scrap everything and everything was broken, that wasn't the case, right? And so there'll be some elements of things that I believe in, but it's more of like, tell me who we have on our football team and the guys and what they can do well, and we're gonna do that.
Joe Brady, offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills. He took that job over during the 2023 season when Ken Dorsey got the pink slip because it was his fault that there were 12 guys on the field when the Broncos were getting ready to kick a field goal. I'm kidding, sort of. Brady ended up getting that job because Dorsey got fired the day after that debacle on a Monday night against the Broncos. And look, it worked. Whatever they did, it worked. The Bills rallied. They won the division. They got to the divisional round. They hosted against the Chiefs. They had a chance. They did better than we thought they were going to do when things bottomed out. And now Stefon Diggs is gone. Like 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5 of the top receivers from the Bills last year are gone. They got work to do. But when you have Josh Allen, kind of helps as you're breaking in new receivers. Kind of helps as you're getting guys ready to go out and do what they need to do, because Allen is going to get the ball to the open guy wherever the open guy is.
He usually does, right? I mean, I think we're all intrigued, excited, question what's this Bills offense going to look like? One, without Stefon Diggs. Two, Joe Brady, full offseason, getting to kind of concoct things around Josh Allen, the offense, the pieces they got there, right? Not only am I interested to see what he does and how he capitalizes off what he did last year, but also, right, it seems like they're going to use a little bit of a different way to attack. 2 tight end system. Keon Coleman, big receiver we talked about. We saw them running the ball and trying to be more physical when Joe Brady took over, spread the wealth a little bit. Right. So, and then you add on it's one of the most talented quarterbacks we've ever seen in the history of football. Yeah, I want to see what this offense looks like. And couple that too, Mike, with my big question. And you remember this, right? Back in the day when Joe Brady was the Carolina Panthers, I liked Joe Brady's, meat and potatoes of his offense. But what was the problem? You remember back then we were kind of like, after about 5-6 weeks, the league kind of caught on, was like, okay, what else is there? What's the next, what's the next wrinkle? What's the next aspect of the offense that they're going to bring to the table here? And that's where I'm also really interested to see what happens here. How Joe Brady's grown as a play caller and a play designer. And, what more plays and tricks of the trade does he have to bring to the table here for the Bills and Josh Allen? I think it's all going to be kind of interesting to watch.
Yeah, it's that college, because he was at LSU.
Right.
There isn't that same...
I got to reinvent myself every week and do this. Right.
Game plan driven,
right.
Cliff Kingsbury issues. I have a system. Oh, wait, they figured out the system. What am I going to do? I'll run my system. So, yeah, you've got the flexibility. You got to learn that at the NFL level, every week is a different thing. Every game is like a snowflake, independent and unique of what came before. And when you have Josh Allen, he's the guy. He's the ultimate chess piece to let you do what you need to do. But they don't have Stefon Diggs.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Right.
Here's Brady from yesterday talking about the Buffalo Bills offense without Diggs in it.
I mean, I guess this only time will tell with that, right? Like at the end of the day, when you played the Buffalo Bills for however many years, you had to worry about Stefon Diggs, right? And that is different now, but you also had to worry about Josh Allen. Right, and it's a quarterback-driven league, and at the end of the day, fortunate that we still have him, and the offense will still run through him, and we'll have to adjust, and we'll have to get a feel of how teams are playing us. But we feel, obviously we're a few days in, but we're excited about the group that we have, and when we get out there on the third down situations or in certain situations, figuring out who they're going to take away, and kind of going from there.
Yeah. Hey, look. It's what you got to do. And it reminds me of some of the things Brandon Beane was saying when they were asking him about pre-draft, the challenge as it relates to finding a number one receiver. And he basically said, you don't need to have a number one receiver. You have a bunch of different guys who do different things. You have a guy who runs well after the catch. You have a guy who catches 50-50 balls. You have different guys who do different things. It's kind of like what the Chiefs have been post Tyreek Hill. Who's the number one guy? They've tried to will Kadarius Toney in that direction. That didn't work. They're trying to move Rashee Rice in that direction. Maybe that'll work. But it helps to have Travis Kelce, but you don't need to have one guy. And I think it makes it harder to defend your offense when there isn't that one guy that you got to take away.
Yeah, there's a little bit of, both to either way of that, right? Yeah, when you don't know, wait, who is that guy they use in this situation or run this route, and damn, they all use them similar. It's hard sometimes to, as a defensive caller, wait, on a third down, I don't know who I should double here, or what should I really play for? I think that's the beauty of not having that go-to guy. Now, having that go-to guy, right? And we've talked about this before where, hey, you have a Jamar Chase, right? You got a A.J. Brown or a Tyreek Hill, and what does that what happens? Oh, well, we see a lot of doubles there. So now we kind of know that the defense is going to play too. So there's a little bit of a gift and a curse to that as well, right? But what I would say, and the big thing in here is obviously they're going to go a committee approach to what you're talking about. The tight ends, the group of receivers they have, I hope they continue to try to run the ball and be physical, because that was a welcomed addition to their offense with James Cook in the run game last year. So do it that way, sure. But the other thing I would say too, I think the Stefon Diggs thing is made out to be a little bigger than it actually is. I mean, again, they survived and went on a winning streak at the end of the year with what? Stefon Diggs getting what? I mean, no 100-yard games, getting about 60, 70 yards a game towards the end of the year. I mean, basically the last 9, 10 games, right? So they know they can play this way without, we have to just feature Stefon Diggs. And what I would also say to that is, and we talked about this during the season, Diggs is really damn good. But he is not, we have to double him all the time good. It's not to the guys we just mentioned, right? And we had these conversations when they played the Chiefs or whoever else. When you watch film, there wasn't people doubling Stefon Diggs. On a third down, maybe they double him because he was in the slot and they might be, it's 3rd and 4. He might run a little option route. But it wasn't like, he's lined up outside. We're definitely putting a corner and a safety over the top. And that's where I don't think it's going to change life for Buffalo's offense as much as maybe the fans and the fantasy world think it's going to change it.
I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I mean, my lingering image of Stefon Diggs and his final act with the Bills, last year it was the waving the arms on the sideline as Josh Allen sat there. This year it was running open underneath and Josh Allen not throwing it to him.
Yeah.
And instead trying to hold on to the ball just long enough to get to the end zone. He got hit, and that was that. It didn't work out, but Diggs was open. And Diggs became, as the Joe Brady version of the offense matured and spread, Diggs became less relevant, less involved. And you get to a point where it becomes a no-brainer. And I know the Bills said everything they had to say because you got to create a trade market. He's still a number one receiver, yada, yada, yada. When you're not using the guy like a number one receiver, he's not a number one receiver. So if we're not using him like it, why are we paying him like it? Let's unload this guy while we can. And that I think had a lot to do with why they traded him.
That's the point, Mike. I mean, number one receivers are generally like, damn, he's a pain in the butt, but damn, he's so good. We got to give him the ball. We just got to give him the ball. We got to give him the ball. We got to give him the ball, right? And Stefon Diggs is damn good. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's that. I don't think he's the put fear into the defensive coordinator, keeping him up late at night, like, oh gosh, oh no, we got to do that, right? It's his ability, route running, to be consistent, and his versatility, but not necessarily game-changing explosion. And like we saw in the playoff game too, I mean, they singled him up, they manned him up, they threw that bomb to him where he dropped it down the right sideline. I mean, the Chiefs were not afraid to leave their corners on an island, and a lot of teams weren't with Stefon Diggs when it came to that point. He's in a better spot in Houston now because they're a little bit more of a route-running, precise type of offense without me getting too deep into the weeds in that conversation. But, yeah, I think Buffalo's going to be just fine. I do.
And he's got a one-year deal. The Texans reconfigured it, so he's 1 year, $22 million in change. He's got every incentive to go out and have a big year, hit the market next year. And I think the Texans understand, hey, we've got 2 years left with C.J. Stroud before we have to pay him big money. Let's spend what we have now on putting the pieces around C.J. Stroud so we can compete with the best of the best in the AFC before a big chunk of our salary cap, to get back to our conversation from earlier, is consumed by the guy who's the heart and soul and the center of the team.
Yeah.
They're going to have to draft young receivers and hope they can develop them. And they're going to have to pick and choose who gets paid and who doesn't. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.